Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game while criticizing current players. I'm one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, joined today by Ryan Stacy and Derek Kubicek.
Hello, hello.
In person.
We're all in person for once. We're surviving the blizzard and we're podcasting together.
Yes, we are, and we are talking about episode 6 of Survivor 44, titled Survivor with a capital S.
It's true. The mergatory episode, or in the merge episode, not the proper merge. It's the same thing we've done for every episode, every merge-ish episode in the last, the new era of Survivor, as it's called by some people. Not me, though. Pretty straightforward, but it's like a fun episode. Yeah.
I thought this episode was hilarious. This cast never ceases to entertain me.
It's true.
At the very least. And this isn't spoilers yet, but like the muffled mic so that we could get the internal monologue of Carolyn when we got to mergatory. Some of the directing decisions and editing decisions for this episode just had me reeling, and that's a product of an excellent cast, and I'm enjoying it so much.
They definitely have learned how to utilize Carolyn to just peak levels editing wise. I wish they would learn how to do it with like everyone on the cast, but it seems like they've nailed Carolyn down pretty well now.
They have gold with Carolyn, so yeah, some other people aren't getting as much screen time because we got to give Carolyn more, and I understand.
You gotta mine her until all of the gold is gone, and Carolyn could be gone at any moment. She's the kind of person who could get swept up by a random tornado tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised that she was off the island. I have no idea.
So I'm going to make a reference, and to those of you who watched Total Drama Island, have either of you... I know Josh hasn't seen it.
I've never even heard of it.
I've seen episodes here and there of Total Drama Island. I can't wait till we cover it on this podcast.
Yeah, we're absolutely covering it on the podcast.
What?
Because it's an animated spoof of Survivor.
Yeah, where they vote people out and everything.
It's literally Survivor, but it's like animated.
And
so
they're
scripted.
And they're rebooting it, actually.
They're rebooting it. There's like 4 or 5 seasons of it, and like a spinoff where they did The Amazing Race instead. For those of you who know who I'm talking about, Carolyn is the closest thing we will ever get in real life to Izzy from Total Drama Island. Again, if you've seen it, you will understand. Izzy didn't really get voted off Total Drama Island because it takes place in Canada. The Mounties the Canadian mounted police came flying in their helicopters, and Izzy ran away from tribal council because she's like, "You'll never take me alive," and ran away. And that's how she was eliminated.
Spoilers.
The first time.
Oh.
So yes, if the Canadian mounted police showed up trying to arrest Carolyn, that sounds about right.
Can you imagine rolling up on Fiji with their stallions? That's the only thing that could make this season more entertaining.
But yes, I want to put it in for the record, we're going to cover at the very least the first season of Total Drama Island.
100%.
Once we're done with the rewind and we have some other stuff to do, we'll have a lot of fun with that.
And international Survivor.
Total Drama Island's got higher priority because it's so great.
And shorter. Like if you only have one season or so to get through.
It's longer. It's so long. They have a bigger cast, and they have like 1 or 2 non-elimination episodes. But yeah, and then they have more seasons that are shorter, but that first season is pretty beefy.
Okay.
Maybe if you tell your friends about us, we can do it sooner on a Patreon of some kind.
Oh, there you go.
That's a deep tease.
We get to the 3rd season where it's a musical season.
Even better.
They have to fly, and they don't stay in the same place. They fly around the world. They still vote people off, but they travel constantly. And basically, the twist of that season is if there's a certain noise that is rang during a competition, they have to stop what they're doing and sing a song. And if they don't, they're eliminated.
Oh.
Yeah, that's season 3.
Lots to learn, I'm sure, from that.
Yeah.
Guys, we have absolutely lost the plot of why we are here tonight.
I've been thinking about this all week, and I really wanted to talk about it. It's like, Carolyn is Izzy. Oh, my God. Yes. Merge. Survivor.
Mergatory.
Anything else about this episode before we jump into it?
I don't think so. I had a good time watching. There you go. You got my review.
And the only interesting thing in the Survivor-verse that I read this week is that Franny is only the 3rd contestant in U.S. Survivor history whose name starts with the letter F. We have Frank, Francesca, and Franny.
Okay.
And those are the only 3. So I just thought that was a fun little tidbit.
That's a pretty solid trio.
Yeah. Elite.
That's a pretty elite trio.
I would take an alliance between those three any day of the
oh my
week.
god.
Can you imagine Frank impersonating elephants, Francesca getting voted out first, and then Franny just trying to do stuff?
Franny showmancing somewhere.
Yeah.
They're all trying to work together. Oh.
We can do the alphabet season.
Sure.
all F's?
Yeah, well-
no, F's versus Q's or
Yeah,
something. F's versus U's.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. I don't know if
Anyway.
anyone has a U name. I don't know if we've ever had that.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
I have to think really hard.
Next season, the U tribe. 6 U's.
Yep.
All right. This has been madness. So
Anyways,
far. For those of you here for Survivor,
thanks for not leaving.
If this is your first episode, we're not typically like
Yeah,
this.
just Carolyn's energy has spread. It's
Yes.
infectious. Well, spoiler alert, I guess. You guys ready to jump in this episode?
3, 2, 1, let's go.
All right. Let's get into the episode proper. Everyone loses their buffs, and we're going to go into everyone lives on the same beach, one world style for now. Before everyone arrives, everyone's moving to Ratu, so Carson takes the opportunity to tell his group, hey, I got that idol from when I got swapped over here. It's no longer good. So this is not a thing anymore. And his thought process was get the target off his back. I can respect that.
And I think it's especially when 3 total people have gotten this same idol, you're not going to be able to lie your way through and say that this is still active. That information is going to get out.
Yeah, if information is going to leak because of the people stuff, you should probably get ahead of it.
Yeah.
So that's probably the right move, I think, in general.
You can be a trustworthy person.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Carson does come off as trustworthy here for now.
Yeah, we don't know when he does this. I think the ideal move is the second you find out that you have immunity and you're not going home. Just get back. Hey, guys, not going to be dealing with this anymore. I had an idol. I'm not using it. It's gone.
I mean, I think he did it at the perfect time when the merge is like when it is
Yeah.
no longer good. Hey,
Yeah.
this is no longer good.
Yeah.
I think Carson nailed that.
Yep.
And I don't know if we were clued into it before this, but Carson did let us know that it's open knowledge that Lauren has that extra vote.
Yeah, because she told her entire tribe. Mm-hmm. So Carson was the only one who didn't know. Same kind of thing. That info is going to leak. So that's why you don't tell anybody stuff, but it was a little different with the Mystery Adventure Island. So everyone's on the same beach. Josh starts playing hard, and he's going to go home tonight. He tells people not to trust Carolyn and Jam Jam. And then he doubles down on having an idol with some people, but then he also tells other people that he doesn't have an idol.
Yeah.
That's not great. You need to have your story straight here, bud. Otherwise, you're just putting a target on your back, like one way or the other.
Yeah, I think at this point you just kind of cut your losses. I don't think you're going to be able to take this lie for like just through everybody because some people already know that Danny has the idol. So your story can just get blown up pretty easily. The first person that Josh tells here is Brandon, which I guess can make sense, but he didn't really do it convincingly either.
Yeah.
Who knows that Danny has the idol again? For sure.
Anybody does.
Yeah.
I thought Josh did for sure.
I can't remember if Danny told anybody. I don't think Danny told anybody.
That's
Really?
why I'm confused. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Danny didn't tell anybody.
Okay. Well, then maybe go completely at the story that this is actually a real idol.
Yeah, maybe. But I think the same result would have happened. You might have been better off just being like, no, it's fake. And then maybe try and get that target off of you.
And one thing the edit doesn't really show us, Danny would have known that Josh was lying about having the Soka idol, but we don't get any of that narrative. Granted, it doesn't serve the whole, he might have an idol, he might have not have an idol, so we need to really drop the emphasis on this plan B.
Plus, Danny can't say that to anybody except us.
Yeah, I understand that, but we didn't even get from Danny's perspective. I know that Josh doesn't have an idol.
If we hear that from Danny.
Yeah.
He tells Jamie he doesn't have it. Jamie doesn't believe him. She's like, oh, he totally still has it. So everyone is suspicious of Josh. They all want him out. Literally everyone wants Josh out. But they're like, can we get him out? That's the question of the episode. And we know.
And this is good Survivor acumen. Can we get him out in this modern era?
Like, even Soka wants him out. Nobody wants this guy in the game.
And unfortunately for Josh, it doesn't really matter since there's so many people. It's super easy to just split the vote at this point. So good luck, I guess.
Play your heart out, man.
The Tika group, which is not the original Tika group, Carson, Carolyn, and Jam Jam, the three of them get back together and they agree to work together. They want to play it low key for now and seem like they're separated. But I think these three could be a real power trio going into this game.
The Stooges.
The Three Stooges Alliance.
I like their name.
It's like a Matt Sing plus, since there's three of them.
This is a fun trio. I hope they do well.
I think they'll last.
I think the last two. I think
Now that Jam Jam escaped
Yep.
here this first time, I think that they're set up pretty well to go
From
far.
from a gameplay standpoint, that could drastically affect 3 tribe seasons going forward. If any tribe ever comes in that's either 2 or 3 strong, people will definitely be scared of the Matt Singh situation. If they do well, we'll see what happens with this.
But the thing with that is, we say that, but it's happened so many times now, and everyone seems to forget. I don't think you're right, Derek. I think people will forget again.
Maybe we should... listeners of our podcast.
Yes.
Maybe everyone should listen to us.
Look out for the smallest tribe.
They're
They're the biggest threat.
Look out for the Matt Singhs. Just get together with the other big player, take out the competition, and then you can fight each other with honor.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta watch out for that small tribe. They're usually pretty tight. Not always, but usually. And even this one, they have issues, but they're still gonna work together.
Because they need to.
Seems like it.
One thing I did like is Matt and Franny are talking and flirting some more, and Matt tells Franny if he wins reward, he's not going to take her on the reward to avoid suspicion. I like the thinking. It's too late.
Yeah, we can't let them know that we're together. But as they're laying there holding hands and sitting next to each other at the merge feast. Oh my gosh.
It's a funny picture, but I have to say, Ryan, if I'm ever playing Survivor with you, I'll lay next to you in the shelter, hold your hand, and tell you I'm not taking you on reward with me.
Let's do only that last thing.
Okay. No,
not because he doesn't want to hold your hand, but more because he doesn't want to be seen as a duo.
Yeah, we don't want to be a power
One
duo.
person goes on reward, the other person stays back. If you have the tightest duo possible, that is the right call.
Right, and so more to the point, Josh said it's pretty obvious. Everyone already knows, and they're going to find out. But if you leave someone back on the beach, at least they cannot openly conspire about it. You've still divided and conquered the narrative of hearing the word said out loud. So it's still the right move.
Exactly. So I hope Matt follows through on this.
And we finally got to see Matt have some good game smarts reflected in the episode. So it's not just him being a social mastermind or whatever and like a strategic zero.
So I want to turn this over to Josh,
Yeah.
our resident Matt hater.
Yeah, resident Matt hater.
On the floor.
Oh no.
You wiping the mat with Matt still?
No, I'm just making something that's, I'm going to say bold prediction, but it's not going to be a bold prediction. Matt's going to win reward and bring Franny.
If that's the payoff, I'm so excited.
I'm fine with it.
100% is going to happen.
Look, honestly, I am less invested in who wins the season, and I am more invested in the Matt and Franny showmance. Honestly, this is the best showmance we've had in a long time.
2 parts of it. 1, information that we get at the reunion show, and 2, how it's going to end.
Yep.
On the show.
How will this end? Final 2? Is one of them going to betray the other?
Oh, and I guess we're not really going to get much information from the reunion show.
No,
if they do.
Yeah, we'll have to do exit interviews.
Oh, great.
And, Twitter and stuff.
Bring back the reunion show,
Bring back the
Jeff.
reunion show, Jeff. We need to know about the state
You
of the
robbed us
showmance.
of a proposal potentially.
Yeah. Oh, God, can you imagine?
If we go back to 39 days, we can have a loved ones visit and we can have survival reunion show proposals again. Come on now.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to go to the immunity challenge. Randomly divide to 2 teams of 6. The winning 6 will get immunity. One of the other 6 is getting voted out. Kind of like we did last season, but there's no odd person sitting out, though there should have been because someone should have been voted out last time. But whatever. I'm actually okay now because I think Josh would have gone home last time and he's out now, so it's fine.
It works.
Course correcting.
This is what we call corrective measures.
So the orange team is Kane, Josh, Jam Jam, Lauren, Danny, and Heidi. They're going to lose to the purple team of Franny, Matt, Jamie, Carson, Carolyn, and Brandon. Purple team was behind. Carson did this puzzle at home with his 3D printer.
I was going to say, you forgot about the very important silent investor member of the Purple Squad, and that is Carson's 3D printer.
Yes, Carson's 3D printer won this challenge. So excellent come from behind victory. Just a smoke show with Carson winning this. And normally I would give credit to Carson and Matt, but I was watching very closely because I'm like, does Carson know this puzzle already? And how helpful is Matt?
Matt wasn't
not
helping.
This is all Carson.
And as an insight, we were watching this together live in the same room. We're live tonight. I don't know if we said that, but Ryan said, do you think that Carson 3D printed this one too? And then we looked at the tree and we're like, nah, he probably didn't 3D print this one. And then challenge ends, I 3D printed this one. We're like, well,
no. As soon as he started doing the puzzle,
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, he 3D printed.
It was going way too
Yeah.
fast.
yeah.
He 100% did that at home, but hey, it paid off.
Yep. And this is a good opportunity because we did get a question on Twitter from Blake Miller asking, do you think that Carson made a mistake this close to the merge by solving the puzzle so quickly? And ironically, we actually talked about this while we were watching. But he also asked, won't that make him the target the second that he doesn't have immunity? And what is the ideal strategy for not just puzzles, but challenge beasts during the pre-merge?
So there's definitely some logic there. Here's the thing. This is the mergatory vote. It is so high risk right now. Honestly, you gotta just gamble and go for the win here. It's something he should be mindful of in the immunity challenge and maybe not blow people out, just smoke them. But still win, kind of like Dash in The Incredibles. Dash could win that race in a second.
Get second.
Now, don't get second because I'm doing you any good. But win by a hair. Make it a little closer. So you don't come off as much of a threat.
Make it close. Second, but make it close.
Yeah, exactly. First, but make it close instead of what happened today.
Yeah, I would say don't even worry about showing off, especially in this challenge, just because it's so important to have immunity here when half the people are going to be immune. Make it close, but also remember that shenanigans can also happen. You could accidentally knock over the puzzle and then do it all over again. So
depends on the puzzle too.
Be a little bit careful about that. Some of the pieces were already hanging off. You could see it just during this episode. So I would say don't really worry too much about blowing them out. But yeah, be more careful going forward about showing off.
Something you got to keep in mind.
To expand on this a little bit more, we said we were going to talk about this in the podcast tonight. Recycling challenges, redesigning, revamping challenges. I think now that Carson has done this twice this season, we saw Spencer Bledsoe do it a couple seasons ago.
Matthew did it earlier this season.
Yep. We've seen it with the snake handles one. What are your guys' thoughts on reusing challenges, and do you think it's becoming a problem that puzzles like this are no longer equalizers because they can be practiced?
I'm okay with what we have. If you practice, good for you. I don't mind Carson getting this blowout. I think what the producers should learn from is okay, we just we can keep some of the same stuff, but we gotta add new stuff too. Unfortunately, it sounds like on the Jeff Probst podcast, Jeff loves this. So once again, Jeff has learned the wrong lesson, it sounds like.
Yes, according to the much inferior Jeff Probst podcast, On Fire.
On Fire, more like not on fire, am I right?
It was brought up just an episode or two ago when they were talking about challenges. Yeah. And they talked about reusing them because Carson came up in the conversation. And Jeff specifically said that they like it because it shows that they're really invested in the show and want to prepare and just be the best version of themselves going into the game, which I completely understand. But at the same time, I don't want people to break the game with this. I want it to be a fair competition. And, you can get a leg up in multiple different ways in the game for sure. But that's outside of the game. That preparing is outside the game. And you're never going to completely get rid of that.
Right.
Because you're not just going to have brand new challenges every time. But I think, Ryan, what you're saying is probably the best solution is just expand the catalog of challenges that you use.
Keep adding stuff. You reuse some stuff for sure, but add stuff.
I will always stand up for Jeff when I feel it is time to stand up for Jeff. On the podcast, I do think the point he was getting more at was, I can't believe that people are going back and literally recreating entire bodies of challenges just to practice them on the off chance that they show up on their season. Because they're not bringing them back in direct sequel seasons unless they're the ones that are filmed back to back. Which makes sense, but they wouldn't have seen those yet. So I think Jeff was more talking about it from reverence or amazement. This is how dedicated the Survivor fan base is in coming out here now. They will prep by 3D printing these challenges. So he wasn't saying that he necessarily loves that it happens. He's just saying, like, I love that it happened. I love that the show has come this far. So I want to defend him a little bit there on that. But, you know, it is what it is.
All right, that was resident Jeff Probst fan.
Hey, you know, Jeff's a showman. That's what he does best, and I know
Not the
he loves
greatest
Survivor.
showman, I'll tell you that much.
Well, I mean, that's Hugh Jackman.
So back at the beach, Jam Jam throws out Josh's name. Josh is going to throw out Jam Jam's name. Yeah, that's predictable.
Who could have seen this
Shocker.
coming?
But basically, it seems like everyone wants Josh out, but they are scared of his idol. So the question is, who is the backup vote? And Jam Jam's going to be the backup vote at the beach. But over on the feast, where the winners get to go on this feast, everyone wants Josh out. But they come up with Kane as the backup vote for some reason.
It was kind of like no one really had a relationship with him. It was just like it was kind of floated out there as like, anyone have an issue with this? And then I think we specifically got Brandon, who's was like, yeah, I'm good with that, because he hasn't had. It's not like he's had a bad relationship with him, but Kane voted for him, so he doesn't think that he can trust him, and that eventually he'll come for him again. Which, that early in the pre-merge, I wouldn't hold a grudge.
People are going to come for Brandon at some point.
Yeah.
And speaking of this reward brunch lunch charcuterie board thing, there's something else that we need to talk about, because it's been going on in Survivor Meta, Survivor Twitter, about people not believing that Carolyn has credibility, or people just not believing Carolyn for no reason. She's always right, but no one ever believes her. And to those people, I need to honestly just say, why would you? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but of all the people on this season, who is maybe the most unhinged? It's Carolyn. Who would be the person to say, oh, they definitely don't have an idol just for them to have an idol? But like the way that she said it was so dismissive of the concern that they're like, you're a little too sure.
Yeah.
This is a case of Rule 9. Be careful what you say and how you say it. She wasn't.
So, yeah, Carolyn is... We love Carolyn. Carolyn's great.
We love her.
It's the... And I don't want to say persona, because I think it's genuinely her, but the energy she puts out into the world does not come off as reliable. And I said that in the very first episode. She's the last person in the world I would align with, because she just comes off as so unreliable. Now, does she have strategic jobs? Yes. But she doesn't put that out there. That's not the impression people get. So I can totally understand why people are wary of what she says. You should be wary of what everyone says. But someone who doesn't put off like that they know what they're talking about sometimes, I totally get why people are skeptical. They should be skeptical. What if Carolyn is working with Josh and is lying? People could think that. Could she be fooled into thinking it's a fake idol? Maybe production used the same beads on tree mail that they did with this idol. You know, that's something production would do for sure. So the people who are getting mad about this on Twitter, why? Not only because it's Carolyn, but why would you trust what anybody says on this show? Not only did most of these people just met her for the first time, everyone on the group, besides Carson, just met her. Why would you trust her? And then add on the fact that her quote-unquote persona she puts out, why would you trust her?
And I think by persona, I know you already clarified, but I'm saying like she presented this issue in a very binary, like he either does or he doesn't have the idol, and he definitely doesn't. I am firmly planted in that he does not have it because he took these beats from Tree Mail. We laughed at him. It was funny. Ha 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 ha. But as a part of a group dynamic, when making a group decision that is going to cost potentially someone else $1 million game, you have to be like, I understand these concerns. Let me tell you this story that he spun for us when he came over to Tika, because we wanted him gone. He would be gone if not for the medevac. We saw this idol. I understand why you guys are concerned. Let's come up with a backup plan. But just so you know, we should make our primary target Josh.
Carolyn, it seems like almost offended that no one 100% trusts her. And I'm like, what game do you think you're playing?
It's a lack of self-awareness. And though I do think Carolyn can win, very few people with no self-awareness can win the game. And somehow Carolyn is in a fairly okay spot after the merge with almost zero self-awareness. The Abby Maria comparison is becoming more and more real, more and more authentic every single episode.
Like a likable Abby Maria.
Yes, yeah.
And I do think she does have self-awareness, because she tells us this in confessional. Yep. So, but it's like, it's very selective.
It's selective
self-awareness.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And it's frustrating when she chooses to be self-aware.
Yeah, I think she's self-aware, but I don't think she can like understand other people's positions. It's one of those things where it's like, here's my experience. I'm going to tell you what it was. Why can't you just listen to my experience? It's like, but you're kind of forgetting everyone else's experiences,
Which is odd as a drug counselor, but by all accounts, she's very, very good in her profession. So it might just be like a case of the islands,
Yeah. And I just want to reiterate, we love Carolyn.
Oh, we're big fans.
Yeah, I absolutely love Carolyn.
I think she can win still.
Maybe I think she has the potential to win for sure.
She's getting the edits.
And that's more of a thing. It's like there's not too many people who can't win in terms of like personality. I'd say one, but we have to do two now. But yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, what show are we on? And the people who are upset about it on Twitter, it's like, this is Survivor. What are you mad about?
Yeah. Now this is kind of a segue, but we got a question related to Carolyn. It was, who is the most underrated player on this season of Survivor? The person who sent this in, it was in a DM. They said that their most underrated player right now is Carolyn. So I figured this is a good time to bring this up. Would you guys agree that it maybe is Carolyn right now? Or would you, like, because I'm almost leaning towards someone like Franny, because the edit's not really giving her chops for how well she's
underrated edit-wise or underrated in terms of
the question.
The perception of the players?
Open-ended question. So however you guys choose to answer.
Carolyn is the most underrated player by the other contestants, not by the Survivor fans. I don't know about the Survivor fans. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, Survivor, that's a tough one. In terms of like just like the edit.
I don't care. I don't.
But I think in terms of like other players' perception, I think it's absolutely Carolyn, just because we get it in confessionals that she knows the game and she knows what she's talking about. She has put those pieces together and has been able to actually execute fairly well in the game. It's just everyone just views her in a certain light.
I'll say Franny from the perception of the audience, because I like a lot of the moves that she's making. Other than being in a showmance, the way that she's navigated that since becoming aware of that perception has been good, and they haven't been targeted yet. So I'll just throw that out. I love what she's done from the perspective of the audience. I don't really see her being talked about that much. So I'll throw out that as another answer.
So the two groups come back together. Josh is the target with backup votes going on Kane. And Josh is told Kane is the target. So he goes to squash the beef with Jam Jam, which is a nice moment. They don't really like each other, but they know they might need to work together. So good.
I like this move from Josh a lot.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times it can work, and the other person should be, logical enough to recognize, like, almost like anyone but me, but like anyone but us, even if that means that you don't go home, that's better for both of us.
I could be wrong about this because I'm no Big Brother fan, but I believe the winner of Big Brother 4, what she did was she aligned with her arch enemy in the house, and the two of them made a secret alliance. And I don't know the whole thing of it, but I think they kind of played up that they hated each other after that, and they were the final two.
The classic Derek and Ryan in the Hunger Games move.
Yeah, season 2 of the Hunger Games.
Season 2 of the Hunger Games.
Word. Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
That's a deep cut.
No one will know this.
We'll share that in our Patreon eventually.
Yeah, basically there was a type of like Assassin's game on campus, and the second year that Derek and I played against each other, where we tried to get every people going at each other and pretended we were enemies, but we were working together the whole time.
Oh, it worked.
It worked really well.
It worked perhaps too well.
I screwed over so many people in my alliance doing that.
Yeah.
I burnt. And what's funny is none of them know about that. So if any of you are listening to the podcast and you were aligned with me the second year of the Hunger Games, you were eliminated, it was probably because of me.
Yeah, yep. Ditto.
I was such a bastard that year.
Poor Sean. I'll never forget Sean.
Oh, man. Was he the one that I called you and like, hey, Sean's here, and then you came into the union and took him out?
Yes, but that was after he came and said, I have your girlfriend's name. I will not tag her out if you promise not to tag me out. I immediately tagged him out. I gave him 24 hours notice, but I was like, yeah, we're not in an alliance anymore. And then 24 hours on the dot, I tagged him out.
So I knew Derek had this guy to go off on a tangent here, and I spotted him, and I called Derek up, and it's like the Bourne Identity. I'm following this guy around the building and giving Derek locations, coordinates where the guy is. Derek ran it and got it. It was great.
The only thing that would have made it better was a legitimate coordinate, like GPS coordinates, but
Yeah, I saw. I was up on the second floor looking down on Sean, and then like Derek came in, and I just turned off my phone and walked out of the building.
It was very Ocean's 11.
It was awesome. That was so cool.
Anyway,
another tangent.
It's a story for a future Patreon.
Yeah, that's a great story.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. But yeah, that's how Derek and I became friends. Close friends.
Close friends. The first Hunger Games.
Yep.
Hunger Games season 1.
Hunger Games season 1. All right. Where am I?
Where are we? What is this podcast?
Okay, here we go. Carson tells Kane that his name was brought up because Carson and Kane have formed a nerd alliance.
Yeah.
This is a questionable move, I think. I don't want to go ahead and say it's a bad move, but I just think who does Carson want to keep in the game? Kane or Jam Jam? Who is closer to Carson? Because by telling Kane, crap gets stirred up and Jam Jam becomes the backup vote instead of Kane. So is that what Carson wanted or not? We don't know. He's got a relationship with both of them. I would probably not stir things up, but at the same time, if Kane finds out he was the backup vote, and you didn't tell him, there goes that relationship. So it really is a big question mark here. What is the right way to do this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was a great move to tell him because, let's think of like the worst things that can happen. Jam Jam gets voted out because Josh actually does have an idol. Not good for your Three Amigos alliance. Whereas if Kane gets voted out, it's kind of like, oh man, like missed opportunity, bummer type of situation. And by telling Kane, or I guess like by not telling Kane and him getting votes, I don't think that he would actually be mad specifically at you because I don't think anyone would really tell him. So it's not like has a reason to just focus his anger or disappointment only directly on you. I think that you'd kind of just be able to explain that away pretty easily.
I will say, afterwards, because Kane is going to tell Brandon, like, hey, Carson told me my name is the backup. Throws out Carson's name. Brandon's like, Carson, dude, what are you doing? And Carson kind of plays it off like, oh, that was such a mistake. Why did I do that? I'm so dumb. I think Carson handled that very well.
Yes.
It's just like the move itself, was that the right one? I'd probably lean towards no. But, I need a little bit more insight on why Carson did it.
I think you need to figure out where you're going to draw your lines in the post-merge. And if Kane's game was so bad that people on his tribe are kind of throwing his name out there, maybe just let him sink and find options elsewhere. The one thing that Carson has going for him is that he's safe.
Yep.
And people have plenty of time to forget about what happened pre-merge. So it's not horrible for him to risk a little to try and keep avenues open. I'm going to err, I think, with Ryan. And I think we all agree, like, it's probably not the greatest move, but it's not a big deal if he does it or not. Something worth considering, but he was safe, so I don't hate it.
Sure. I'm with Derek.
On a side note, I could see it being a good strategy just for Carson overall to keep Kane in the game if he doesn't really have great relationships with people as someone to bring to the end even. That's a long ways away, but we're in the post-merge now. You got to be thinking of the end game and who you want to be sitting with.
Well, and Carson elucidated this. He said that he wants to have a group of misfits at the bottom, like of the minority alliances that are getting fragmented. Let the big players take each other out. The Dannys, the Brandons, who knows, maybe like Franny, Lauren, all of Heidi, maybe they're included in who he considers to be the big players. He said he wants to scoop as many people up from the bottom. So if he can use his immunity right now to influence keeping Kane around and knowing that Jam Jam might also stay because Josh probably doesn't have an idol, sure, fine. At least you're taking the narrative and moving it elsewhere.
It's the Xander strategy from 41. Hopefully it works out better for Carson.
Hopefully it works out better.
All right, so Tribal Council, nothing really important happens here except for the fact that Carolyn, when she goes up to vote, she notices that some of the set decoration, there's a mace on the wall, and she says, oh, I had one of these growing up, and I'm just like, what? Why did you have a mace?
And can we say this is not a normal Minnesota thing?
No! We don't all have maces up here.
What? You guys didn't have maces growing up?
No, I did not.
The closest thing I had throwing knives because I drove through South Dakota. We stopped at Wall Drug. There's a very select few people who will understand the importance of Wall Drug when I say it.
I don't even understand that one, and I'm from Minnesota.
And we went into Wall Drug, and there was a tomahawk / just small handheld arms store, and there was this set of beautiful silver stainless steel throwing knives, and they were $12. I opened up my little karate-themed Young Americans wallet. I pulled out 15. I bought these throwing knives, brought them home, bought a slab of plywood, and I just sat there throwing knives at that thing for months.
I mean, I did that too. I had a Ninja Star though.
I had we got a Ninja Star paperweight that I just used as a regular Ninja Star.
Sounds like you guys had fun childhoods. I didn't
Yes.
have anything pointy that I threw at walls.
I did it outside.
So yes, Carolyn had a mace growing up. Question mark.
Question mark, indeed.
A mace is a little different from
That's
throwing
odd.
knives.
That's odd.
Where do you put a mace?
I need the backstory for this one.
Carolyn, big fan of the podcast. Let us know. Give us the exclusive.
What's going on up in Hugo, Minnesota?
Yeah.
If you're come on, join the podcast in person. We'll
Yeah,
have you.
Oh, we will host you. Absolutely.
Yes. And in fact, almost not any, but most Survivor contestants, the vast majority. If you want to be on the podcast, just hit us up.
We'll buy you a Casey's Pizza.
There's a few of you who are banned.
Yeah. We've got a couple.
Yep. But we're gonna get 7 votes for Josh, 3 votes for Jam Jam, 1 vote for Kane. So Josh, Brandon, and Kane all voted for Jam Jam. Carolyn seems like she was left out and voted through her vote on Kane. So it seems like she wasn't filled in on the backup plan. She seemed
Interesting.
confused about the Jam Jam votes. So, yep, 7-3-1. Josh is out of the game. Goodbye.
Honestly, Carolyn not voting for Jam Jam is a pretty good move for Carolyn because Jam Jam was a little bit questionable of her. And Carolyn's like, if I got to put my vote on someone, I'm not going to put it on my teammate.
Yeah.
So I
Vote Josh.
I kind of like it, but maybe she was told not to vote for Josh, and she's like, listen, I'm fine. I won't vote for Josh, but I'm not voting for Jam Jam.
Vote for Josh.
There's some logic here.
So was this the right move?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted Josh around. Get rid of him.
Yeah, it's one of those easy ones where you don't have a relationship with him, not in your alliance, obviously. An argument could be made that, like, so many people are seeing him as, like, a threat. And I use that term very loosely because everyone still wants you out. That, maybe that's the type of person that you can, like, bring to the end of the game. But we're so far away from that just cut him.
A consensus vote, basically.
Yeah.
Do it. It's definitely great for Tika and Ratu. At the Soka tribe, they had a relationship with him, but they all wanted him out. Generally I would say that's bad, but the fact that it was all of them makes me like, what did he do?
It brings up more questions about that previous vote before it and why that decision was made.
So the Josh, I want to know why Josh was not well liked by the rest of the Soka. Like I need more information on that. But definitely better for Tika and Ratu than Soka, but I still think it was fine for Soka.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
This is fantastic. In one of the most lopsided, did the right person go home, 85% of people said yes, in fact, the right person went home. So Twitter and this podcast and the cast were absolutely aligned on this one.
We're all on the same page except Carolyn.
Yes. And Carolyn wanted Josh out.
Yes.
Let's be clear.
All right, let's get into best and worst player of the episode. Josh, who do you have for best player of the episode?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no extremes here tonight.
Yeah, I think you have to consider Carson just because of the immunity win. But at the same time, he still didn't make a great move with talking to Kane there. That was enough to take it away from me. I'd have no issue if you guys still go with him. I ended up going with Jam Jam here just because I think that he played it off the best when, especially that interaction with Josh, where he was completely on board with Josh's plan of like, let's just go for Kane. Like, ignore this dispute that we have and let's just go for Kane. Jam Jam, to his face, is just like, perfect, yes, awesome, let's go do that. While still in confessional, behind the scenes, wanting to get Josh out, and that's what ended up ultimately happening. And I don't think he's really going to have too much of a target on him anymore going forward. We'll see. He absolutely could, but I think that the focus is going to shift away from him now.
I ended up giving mine to Carson, and the thing about Kane, I think it was bad, but like not that bad. It was just kind of negligible, but slightly bad. But what I liked, obviously the immunity challenge, but then I liked that he told the Ratu tribe that his idol was no longer valid. It doesn't work anymore, to get the target off his back. And he brought Jam Jam and Carolyn back together. So I think the good outweighed the bad by a lot. And I think he was like significantly ahead of everybody else, even with the Kane move. So Carson's my best.
I have a different person. and I struggled with this for a long time. This was my hardest. I went with Kane. And it's because I think everyone pretty much played base level, good, smart Survivor today for the most part. Like even Carolyn, as Jam so lovingly said, she was on her best behavior. She may not be normal, but like she put on her best face. She likes sweating. But Kane successfully diverted the backup vote from him to Jam. So if Josh does have an idol, Kane is still in the game. And his relationship with Carson paid dividends, and it ended up with Carson having just the smallest amount of egg on his face. And though we don't think that that's a big deal, in the moment, I think we agree it's probably not his most optimal move.
Sure.
So the fact that Kane was able to leverage that relationship and then get the votes off of him somewhere else. And by the way, the only thing he did wrong was vote for Brandon like 13 days ago. So that's something that he did wrong a while ago. And the only reason Brandon didn't go home was because of an idol. Yep. So I give it to Kane for successfully diverting the vote.
I did give Kane my honorable mention. How about worst player? I'll go first with this one. I give mine to Carolyn. There wasn't much here. Carolyn's the only one I thought did like really anything negative. Kind of socially awkward. And then, just her reaction to what she said at the feast, basically saying like, hey, Josh's idol is fake, and just kind of getting a little, I don't know, pouty when everyone didn't like just take her word as gospel truth. And then it seems like she didn't know that Jam was the backup vote and thought that Kane was. So it's just a couple of little things, but this is, like Derek said, this is baseline Survivor. Everyone kind of did what they were supposed to do. So I gotta get a little nitpicky here, and Carolyn's my worst player.
I went with a different person. I landed on Brandon. And my thought process, I know you said you're okay with Soka voting out Josh because they'd wanted to for a long time. Soka didn't have a lot of experience at pre-merge tribal council.
Just one.
This is another case of them chomping at the bit to play when maybe they shouldn't have. I think they should have probably kept Josh. Now, was it the best for everyone still around? Yes, because there's more people that outnumber. But why? Like, what do you think Josh is going to do? Josh isn't going to go with Tika, so I don't necessarily like that Soka was willing to vote him out. The same goes with Brandon throwing out Kane's name. So whereas I can't really differentiate what happened on Soka, like if they all kind of decide like Josh has got to go, I almost have to trust them. Brandon, for almost no reason, is stirring up his base on the Ratu tribe by throwing out Kane's name at the reward. I don't like that, especially when Jam and Josh were right there.
Sure.
So again, pretty much baseline Survivor. Not anybody did anything a whole lot wrong. So I felt like possibly going down a number in Ratu just because he was excited to say a name was bad. So I give it to Brandon.
I had no idea. No idea.
Fair.
I originally put down like Kane ? Just because he got a vote and people were talking about him as a potential backup. You do that for a reason. So that's why I originally put him down. But Derek, you convinced me.
Yes.
Actually, in two ways. You convinced me to take it off of Kane originally by what you said in your best player. Actually,
yes.
That reasoning of he was very effective at getting that attention off of him. So good on him for that. And then he convinced me on Brandon. I'm gonna go with Brandon here. I agree that I don't like him just sacrificing essentially someone from Ratu here. Kane was. After Kane had his conversation with Carson, the first person that he went to was Brandon, asking about that. Yeah, that's because he was there at the merge feast, but it seems like it's someone that he also trusts. And I don't know, it might be a very, very, very loose amount of trust, and I understand that. But at the same time, don't just ditch something because of something of one vote that was placed in the first tribe, the first tribal council. I don't remember if it was the first one or not.
It was.
But that's just kind of, that's a little crazy to me to just cut things off, right? Or be willing to cut things off like that.
In summary, if this is how Brandon plays when he's playing from the top, we shouldn't have high hopes for his game.
Jam did say in this episode, like, he threw out a name. That's a huge Survivor mistake. And I don't think it was for Jam in that case, but it can be. You don't necessarily want to be the first person to throw out a name unless you're in a desperate situation. Jam wasn't in a desperate situation, so therefore it's not that big deal for Jam.
He had a good read that he was going to be a target.
Let's get into who's going next. They're obviously all in one group now. There's some weird twist going on next week, but, ignore that. We don't know what it is. So we'll just give out one name here. Derek, who's going next?
I let the twist influence me, and so I just said Jamie. I feel like Jamie is the most likely casualty from some ridiculous production twist.
I think that someone from Soka is going to go again. And I think that there's going to be focus on the duo between Matt and Franny. And I am going to go with Franny here. I wish it'd be Matt that'd be going, but I think Franny is going to be the casualty because she'll actually be seen as more of a threat.
I wanted to just go kind of baseline because this twist could throw things in the air. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to avoid anyone who gets any sort of highlight in the next time on Survivor. Franny and Matt got a highlight. Who is near the bottom? Jam. Jam's going next.
All right.
Okay.
My winner pick. All right. Let's get into who can't win the game. 2 of these people cannot win.
So we're picking 2 from now on.
So we're picking 2 from now on. Now, granted, obviously things can change. This is more for fun and to either be like, haha, we were right or we were so wrong, just like last season.
That would never happen.
So this is for fun. Everyone relax. But yeah, so we got to name 2 names. Who cannot win the game? Josh, who do you got?
Well, you guys know my one. Matt is my first.
What?
I've said it for a few weeks now, so he's definitely on my list of people who cannot win this game. I had a tough time with the second one. I'm going to go more based off of edit for the second one, just based on people who we haven't really seen a whole lot of, and that's Heidi. I'm going to go with Heidi more just because either maybe she ends up getting third place and is brought to the end because she hasn't really done a whole lot, or maybe she just doesn't make it to the end. But yeah, she's my second one.
I'm going to pick the 2 people who seem like they have the worst social games. Obviously, Josh would have been in this, but he's out now. I'm going to give it to Jam and Carolyn.
Interesting.
Didn't you just say earlier that you think that she can
Carolyn
still win
can
the game?
absolutely win, but she also cannot win. Schrodinger's Carolyn.
Schrodinger's Carolyn.
Look,
Okay.
and like I said, this is more of a thing where it's just like we haven't gotten a lot of negative content from people.
Okay. Then,
Carolyn's
if Carolyn is off the table, who'd be your next one then?
God,
Don't make him do this again, Josh. You're breaking him.
Danny maybe.
Okay.
What?
No.
I think I have Danny third.
I'm trying to think about Schrodinger's Carolyn now. So
She both can and can't win.
Yeah. Her win is in a box, and until it is observed, it cannot happen.
Schrodinger's Carolyn.
Yeah.
Hashtag Schrodinger's Carolyn, everybody.
Yeah, sure. I have Brandon and Jamie as my 2 can't win, mostly because I think that Brandon has very few Survivor chops, and I don't think he makes the end, and 2, I think if he does, it'll be kind of a big nothing. We have seen almost 0 strategic chops from him. And then Jamie, kind of the same way. I think if she does get to the end, it won't be by any devices of her own making, and I would hope that someone like Jam or Carolyn can beat them.
Well, will it be a device of Matthew's making? Fake idol? I don't know. Joke.
That's another reason. And by the way, my previous who can't win, which is Josh, is now officially out.
Yep.
Can we just recognize how many people are left? 11?
Yes.
None of us overlapped, which means that we have 6 people that were just named as can't win the game.
Brandon, Jamie, Jim, Carolyn, Matt, and
Heidi.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
But I think that out of all 6 of those, like I can absolutely see the reasoning behind all of them, which means that there aren't many people who should be able to win this game.
Well, yeah. So by reduction, just for fun, who can win then? No one said Danny. No one said Carson. No one said Lauren. No one said
Kane.
There's one more.
Franny.
Yeah.
That's 5.
Yeah. So there's our 5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's 11. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Crazy. Weird. Yeah. It's a weird season.
Yeah. I think the 2 that I disagree with most are Ryan's. I think both Jam and Carolyn can both win this game.
I usually look at. In fact, I almost primarily look at the social game.
Yeah, and that is a perfectly fair thing to look at.
People can win with flawed social games. It's absolutely happened a bunch of times, but it is the most important factor. Mm-hmm. It's the hardest one to pull off with like a flawed social game. So that's what I always go with. Just hedge my bets, basically.
Now I go hands off.
Derek, get out of here.
Because this next section is all for you guys.
Loser.
All right, Survivor Pool. We're both still alive. I had Danny last time, and you had
Carson.
We're both still here. Neither of us picked Josh at any point, so we both lose him. Not a huge loss.
Not a huge loss, but I have a feeling that we're not going to make it to the end of the season.
Okay.
I have a feeling that one of us is going to run out of people.
That'd be fun.
Or lose.
I hope you lose, actually. That's what I want to happen.
Well, I'm sure you do.
I'll go first.
Sure.
I'm going to, my strategy is always pick someone who's got an advantage, typically. Well, I've done that. There's no one left. So I'm just like, who is nobody really going to target? Heidi. She's there. Purple Heidi almost. Not quite. She's not that bad. But I'm going to go with Heidi. I don't think anyone's going to come for her next time.
I'm going risky.
Okay.
Because I don't think that this is someone who will make it to the end game. And, we're in the post-merge now, which means that they can get voted out at any time. But I don't think next week is his time. I'm going to go Brandon here.
Dude, that was my backup choice. I almost went with Brandon. The same thought
I'm
process.
hoping that he goes out in like 2 or 3 votes.
Yeah, that
And I can
was
just
exactly
cash
my
that.
thought process. So here's hoping that you made the mistake and I didn't.
Yep.
All right. That's the episode. We're merged. We made it through. We earned the merge now.
We're here.
And you earned the merge too for listening through this entire thing.
Damn right.
You can follow us on Twitter at Castaway Pod, Facebook, Castaway Consultants, YouTube, Castaway Consultants.
TikTok, Castaway Consultants.
Instagram is Castaway Pod. And yeah, that is all of our social media. So go follow it all. If you're specifically interested in video, you can look us up on YouTube and Facebook for those.
And we also are now big enough that on Spotify, we qualify for these new interactions. So go to this episode's page on Spotify. We'll either post a poll or a Q&A. We're still figuring this stuff out, but there's enough of you now that Spotify cares about us. So thank you. We appreciate that. But yeah, go take a look at that.
Yeah.
All right. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.